Now we get to hide the 5 o'clock shadow and the wrinkles. The best time to practice is at Halloween, because if you fuck it up, it doesn't matter. You're meant to look awful. My full drag name is actually Bubu Le Mic, but most of my friends always called me Bubu, so it was Bubu Le Mic. When I used to perform in Jersey, most of the shows that I do were sort of like a chat show thing. It was, you know, on the sofa with Bubu or on the couch with Bubu. And it depended on how you would dress. The physical side has been a huge problem with finding outfits, shoes. I mean, I've got a size 11 foot. Clothes, I've had to either make my own, have them made for me, either by friends, myself, or professionally, or you buy something that stretches. Pretty, but wouldn't go anywhere near me. Nice little skirt. I wonder how much that'll stretch to. It's a small, it's not going to stretch very much. Everything in here seems to be size 14. At least we've gone up a size from the shop across the road. I was 28 stone. I was a big girl. Did wonders for the cleavage, but nothing for the waistline. I was having severe problems with my back and my legs. I couldn't wear heels anymore. I had to use a stick to get around a lot of the time. I couldn't walk very far without having to rest because my back would hurt. I can get into it a bit more now because of, you know, the operation that I've had to have a stomach band fitted. I've lost weight and it's improved my health vastly. And even though I've only lost 5 stone so far, you know, the stick's gone, the back problem's practically gone. I can wear high heels again without a problem. It's been a real positive thing. There's a lot of things that I can't eat now, but the good thing is there's lots of nice foods that you can have dips with, like, you know, hummus and stuff like that, which I can eat because it's smooth and doesn't take a lot of chewing. It goes down easily. Most of the dishes that I make have lots of flavour in them. I don't like anything to be too bland. And you've got to try everything you cook. You can't expect other people to eat it. So yeah, that's had a big problem on my weight. I always used to cook with my mother, especially on a Sunday. She used to do a lot of baking. And I used to sort of like help mix and weigh ingredients. And then when it was all cooked, she used to go and deliver bits and bobs to the rest of the family. After my mother passed away, I took over the kitchen. My mother died when I was 11, just coming up to 12. So I was then left alone with my father, who a year after my mother died had a nervous breakdown and went into a psychiatric hospital for about 6 months. It was me that actually found him. He'd said goodnight to me at the bottom of the stairs when I went up to bed, and when I came down in the morning he was actually still stood there. I can remember going with my brother a couple of times to visit him in the hospital, and he didn't know who we were. It was a bit strange. We had certain friends of the family that were called aunt and uncle, although they weren't actually, and I spent a lot of time with one of those families, and quite often I was left with the aunt's father to be looked after. I was 12 at the age, and he was interfering with me at the time. It was strange in as much as he must have felt guilty about what he was doing because he used to pay me for it. I soon clicked on that I could actually earn money doing this. And although it's considered wrong, I actually enjoyed it. So of course after that event, I then actually started to sell myself on the street. I made very good money out of it. Looking back on some of the behaviour that I had when I was that young age and whoring myself about, it's quite scary. Yeah, I could have really destroyed my life just by not being careful. Gay men are quite promiscuous, and I would honestly say that I have been very promiscuous over the years. Thankfully, I've never actually contracted any STDs. I did have a little scare a few years ago where I thought I might have caught HIV, and I immediately went and had myself tested for it. I never thought about it when I was younger doing prostitution. It was not really as much in the news then. Nobody knew anything about it. It wasn't discussed. You didn't think of those type of things. I wouldn't do anything to cover up the fact that I was gay, but then I wouldn't sort of like be ultra flamboyant and go out the way to prove that I'm gay, because that's not me. The biggest problem you have with men these days, if you've gone out in drag, especially with cleavage like mine, is they, for some reason, want to put their head between your bust. Not quite Jordan, but not bad. Cheaper than hers. We have small amounts of makeup these days. I've tended to sort of like give odd bits of makeup away, and friends come around and borrow it and it doesn't come back. But I think compared to most ladies' wardrobe of makeup, I've got a little too much, but never mind. Least I've paid for a wig, not including postage, was probably about 16p, which I think was one I got from Japan. The most paid £78 for a wig that was already dressed. It was a huge, big red heart shape. Especially with something like this, because it is so bad, if I can actually get this into some kind of reusable shape, yeah, it is a big sense of achievement. Because you can look at it and think, wow, I did that. I've made that piece of tat look fabulous. It's very knotty, this, but we shall see what we can do. Hair and makeup can make a huge difference to somebody's appearance. I mean, it's great being in a nightclub in drag and going into the ladies' toilets with the rest of the women and refreshing your makeup. They don't bat an eyelid. In fact, half of them will lend you the lipstick. If they're not borrowing yours. I've had odd bits of verbal abuse thrown at me, but everybody gets that. I don't let it get to me. You get guys that, ridicule homosexuals and transvestites and that, but when they're going out on the stag nights, they're the first ones to put a dress on. Drag is almost, it's like a weapon really. You can use it against people to see you as what you want them to see. You can make them laugh at you, you can make them laugh with you, you can make them laugh at each other. Laughter cures so much, and because they can't help but laugh at what you're doing or what you're saying, it's almost like an icebreaker. The bargain this was. I got this off of Zsa Gabor. She's become so fat now she can't get into it. It's all that Botox. Zsa Gabor.
Who's Zsa Gabor?
You don't know who Zsa Gabor is?
No.
Oh, God. as a persona that's meant to be bitchy, comical, etc., people do laugh it off because they don't know whether you mean it or not. They assume you don't, which most of the time you don't mean. What's wrong with Essex? Look at look at all the fantastic things that have come from Essex.
Like
flags, sluts, stilettos.
Jordan.
What can I say? Look at the tits that she's got.
Yeah, we went to.
You get to do things that you can't do as a guy. It's what cleavage is for.
God, I could fit my face right between them.
Oh. A lot of people say I don't actually have any confidence in myself, which is probably true. Because people tell me I'm good at various things, and I tend to poo-poo it a bit and think, well, I'm just doing my best. I don't personally think it's that fantastic. The great thing is when you do actually put this persona on, you can then say it's hard to be humble because you can fake it. You can say that you're absolutely fantastic, and people are going to believe you. The fact that you don't think that yourself is irrelevant. Being on my own, not having any family to turn to, it's do or die, so you have to build that confidence up. And a lot of it's a mask, sometimes you go home and you think, oh God, I've had such a terrible day. But, you can't show that to the rest of the world. And you do feel, why do I bother anymore? I'm doing this to please other people, not myself. And it's just a negative attitude that you have towards yourself sometimes, and you have to shake yourself out of it. I've got very few, but very, very close friends who are very supportive and very, very helpful. And whenever I do feel down, it's them I usually contact. I do tend to let my guard down with them if I'm in a close situation, sort of chatting with them. Earlier on this evening, I had to speak to the hosts of the party. One of them was a little bit upset by what somebody else had said to them, and I had to comfort him. So yeah, you do tend to drop the persona a bit and go into your your real person that you actually are to comfort them. Oh honey,
Really bad.
but you're fine now.
Oh, absolutely fabulous.
Good,
now.
go and do your fucking hair and put some makeup on. You can throw a bit of the character into it because that then will make them laugh and boost them up again to carry on. So yeah, it does, it's good. Different experiences throughout life, especially a life that's varied and had strange experiences or unusual experiences in it, does make good storytelling. Okay, I understand that people dying, members of the family and things like that is quite sad at the time, but life has to go on. You can't stop because of something bad has happened. You've got to push forward. The way I look at life for everything, including sex, living, everything like that, has a lot to do with growing up after those events. A lot of people say to me, "Oh, you should look for the worst things, and then if it's good, it's even better." But I don't. I try to look for the best in anything and everything, and 90% of the time, it is good. Fuck's sake, you're here already? So we're recording now, aren't you? You can hear me. These are my titties.
They grip quite well, so they don't come out.
Fantastic. And of course, you occasionally drop them in your pint to clean.